believe it. 1-1 at Craven Cottage.
I mean,
hey, going ahead and dropping points like that.
It's just 2 points dropped, isn't it?
It is. It's just. Do you know what? Times like this, you just think, what is the point?
You know, it sounds like this, so I'm glad I left early.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm just glad I turned off the telly.
Yeah.
And didn't bother watching that last 30 seconds. It's not like we're going to score in the last 30 seconds with the best Argentinian attacker on the planet, is it, Joseph? Oh, my God. Manchester United winning at Craven Cottage 2-1 with a late winner by Alejandro Garnacho, the greatest youngster on the planet. That's Joe Smith. I'm Jay Motti. This is the live review. Get involved in the chat and the comments if you calmed yourself down enough, because we had to take, we're sorry we're late, but we had to take a breather because we'd more or less smashed up the studio, lost our voices, lost our minds.
I think
everything
Scotty lost
went.
an eye.
Scotty lost an eye. Macca, I think, took Scotty's eye out. Andy Tate's been arrested for public disorder. It's all popped off. It's been an absolute carnage show for the last 5 minutes, but there's just nothing like it on earth, is there? No. There's nothing like it when you feel like the game is gone, it's over, you feel deflated because, you know, you're going into the World Cup now, there's 4 weeks of just irrelevant international football no one cares about, and you've got to wait for ages, and that's the last result in a game where after that first half we looked like we had it, you know, we're in control. I know Fulham had moments. Dan James gets an equaliser, and then that boy pops up. Joe, just talk us through it, because for me, that felt almost like the Villa game in the League Cup in reverse. Yeah. Like, the first half I thought United played well. Really you expect the home team to come at you, but we dealt with it relatively well. You know, we were positive in our play. We had some... Martial and Rashford were linking up. You can see they're a bit rusty together, but, you know, they had a few chances. Good value for our lead. And then second half, we just looked knackered and out of ideas.
Second half, United did look completely knackered. Like, no energy, nothing, no pressing. Martial was clearly goosed, which is kind of expected because he's played, no more than 60 minutes in a game this season, I don't think, or, you know, very little anyway. Rashford looked tired and potentially a bit hurt as well. The shoulder looked like he'd hurt that at one point. He looked slightly as though he's sort of off his normal pace. Elanga never got going on that side. Malacia never got going on that side. The second half was really poor. And I think the first half was kind of what you expect from an away game against a top 10 side in the Premier League. Yeah. They made it really difficult for us. They looked good at times. But United were the better team in that first half. We made chances. Martial missed a header. Eriksen side-footed wide from 12 yards out, should have scored. I think Rashford had a decent chance as well. Martial had that one where he sort of bundled through the goalkeeper, almost crossed the line, but the defender came and cleared it away. And first half, he thought, you know what, we've converted one, we've had another 3 or 4 chances, that's a good half. And then second half, it was like you said, like the Villa game, where we just were outpaced, outclassed, outworked. We looked tired, we looked lethargic. Martinez was getting skinned by Dan James. Like, things I thought I'd never see. That's one of them. But it didn't matter.
To be fair, I agree with you. And I think that's... Like, the thing with Martinez is, it's not that he's slow. Dan James is one of the quickest players.
Yeah, Dan James is just rapid.
And that was always a bit of a mismatch, wasn't it? You thought, that's concerning because, you know, obviously if he uses pace, nothing Martinez can do about that.
We've seen that. We've seen Dan James do that for Man United in counter-attacking performances. When he's got space, he's one-on-one with his defender. He's really hard to get at. But then to get that goal at the end and for it to be Garnacho again... When he got the ball on the left-hand side, first of all, I thought the ball had gone out when it was on the way to him down the line. I thought it might have gone out for a throw-in.
Right, yeah.
Obviously not. I was saying, Eriksen's inside. Yeah. He lays it into Eriksen inside. And we can talk about the run from Garnacho and the fact that everyone else looked like they were running through treacle. He wanted it more than everyone else. Not just was he sprinting, but he was elbowing people out the way to get to that ball. But the weight on that pass from Eriksen, it was absolutely inch perfect. Because if he plays it any shorter, the Fulham player gets there first. It doesn't allow Garnacho the time he would need to get past the defenders. If he hits it any harder, the angle is too narrow, and all of a sudden, what is a 1 in 3 chance that he's got there, maybe less than that, becomes a 1 in 10 chance, and it's all but impossible for Garnacho to score. The weight on that ball was absolutely phenomenal. And like you said, this doesn't just change my feeling now. This changes the next 5 weeks worth of reflection on Manchester United, because now we can catch Tottenham for points. I know the goal difference will be better than ours, but we can be on level points with the top 4 if we win our game in hand. Yeah. Also, you think if we go into the World Cup 1 loss to Villa, 1 draw to Fulham as our last 2 league games. All the articles in all of the newspapers, the Athletic, the Mirror, the everything, this, that, and the other, Twitter, everything that you see about Manchester United is framed in a negative light. How Ten Hag can recapture that early season form, why United fell off, why United looked fatigued before the break. Like, now we can look at Manchester United in a positive light where, yes, we dropped points to Villa, but we bounced back and we beat Villa and we beat Fulham. It's such a massive mental difference supporting Man United over the next 6 weeks, winning that game than not winning that game. It's absolutely massive, that result.
Yeah.
Such a great goal as well to win it.
No, it was. I agree with everything you've just said there. You can see the table there. Now, with the game in hand on Spurs, we can go level with points on them. Obviously, we're in it. Yeah. You know what I mean? We're above. Obviously, we would have still been above Liverpool if we would have drawn.
4 points ahead of Liverpool, 5 points ahead of Chelsea. That's huge.
That is huge. And you go in, like you say, you're going in there with positivity. You look at that and you go, do you know what? If you'd have offered me that beginning of the season, or tell you what, if you'd have offered me that after the Brentford game, I'd have said you were on crack to even think we could do that.
Off top four
and I'd bit your hand off. But, there's that real positivity, there's that belief, and you can. The trouble is, and I think you guys will mention it on the watch along. You've got like this perfect storm of problems for Erik ten Hag in terms of we're playing a lot more games than a lot of other teams. We played more games than Fulham have played. We played more games than Villa played when we got beat off them. We've had injuries. We've had, Anthony's been missing, who's been a star for us. Sancho's missing. Ronaldo, whatever's going on there, he's still a player you would feature.
Martial's been
almost
all the season.
All the season. He's obviously a player that Erik ten Hag wants to use and sort of uses his main attacker. So you've had all that going on. Varane's out as well.
Dallow's out,
which almost goes under the radar. Dallow's out, so you're playing a left back who you bought for 40 million euros at right back. So you've got the amount of games you've been playing, players missing. You've had the Ronaldo situation to deal with. You've had also the issue of you're bringing in, like let's face fact, we brought in like 5 first-team players, or 4 first-team players, sorry, in, Martinez, Casemiro, Anthony and Eriksen. It's not easy to just integrate them, play loads of football, bounce back from some early sort of disappointments, deal with the Cristiano Ronaldo situation, deal with all these injuries. There's a lot going on, and yet we've done it, and we're still on a positive footing. And I think that is a testament to Erik ten Hag, because I just feel like he's getting so many things right, and including today, there was certain things that weren't working. I think Bruno was drifting in and out of the game. He was on that right hand side, wasn't he?
By the end, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like, what's going on there? Some of our decision making wasn't great, and you're thinking, is this going to be, like you were saying earlier, a deflating afternoon? That certainly felt like that. But the substitution, he got it spot on, and I think most of us before the game, and judging what I've seen on social media, would have started Garnacho and probably dropped Elanga. I think that was the sort of the general feeling, and I don't think you can fault it when the substitute comes on and scores the winner.
No, and also the reason he didn't start Garnacho is because who do you play on the right wing?
Yeah.
Garnacho isn't a right winger. We've seen that. So much of his threat is on that right foot coming inside. I know he scored with his left foot today, but the option of that threat is crucial to Ten Hag's system. He loves inverted wingers.
Yeah.
Opposite foot wingers.
Yeah.
They need to be able to cut inside as part of their threat, and then you have the overlap of the fullbacks on the outside as well. If you start Garnacho, Rashford has to play in the centre. Then who do you play on the right? Like Bruno starting in from the right doesn't seem to make sense. Martial was fit, so he's going to play up front. That means Rashford on the right, Garnacho. I understand why he did what he did, and I think especially because typically, and it didn't seem to do it today, Elanga is a much better defensive winger than either Garnacho or Rashford. So I think he thought, away to a team that's had a rest for a week, a team that is overachieving at the minute, 9th in the Premier League, or they were before the day started, he went with the more industrious Anthony Elanga on that side to be able to put Rashford in his primary position and Martial in his primary position. And also, no offence to Elanga, but I would much rather have Garnacho coming off the bench to affect a game than Elanga, because Elanga doesn't have much of a... He doesn't have a goal in him really these days, does he?
No, so he did it last season, didn't it? Last season at Ellen Road and at Madrid.
Yeah.
But since then, I think he's gone to 24 games, whatever it is, with 1 goal or something. I'm not sure the exact figure. It's not great.
No.
So like you say, he's not the sort of player where you go, crikey, Elanga's coming on. If you're a defender, you're like, oh my God, Elanga's coming on. I think we've Garnacho's coming on, you think, Jesus wept. Yeah.
He gets the ball and he sprints at the defender.
Yeah.
It's like he's the opposite of sort of Sancho at the moment, isn't he? Like, obviously Sancho's done so much more with his career. He's proven himself in the Bundesliga. I'm not trying to knock Jadon Sancho with this, but he tends to go to his man, cut back, give it the full back over and over again. You see that when the player's lacking confidence. Garnacho every time he gets the ball, he goes, right, what have you got, big boy? And fucking sprints at their defender.
Yeah.
And it's so dangerous and so difficult to deal with. When you've got the close control that he has, when you've got the speed that he's got, he can really terrorise defenders. And they were shitting it immediately when he came on. It changed the whole dynamic. But up until he came on, United, you would have thought we were winning and holding on to a lead the way that the game was going. Fulham were having all the ball. They weren't creating too many chances, which is a testament to United's defence, actually. But United did not look like scoring whatsoever until Garnacho came on. Then they decided to sit back because they thought, hang on, we've got a 1-1 here, we've got a draw, and this guy's going to piss us about if we push too high. And I think they shit it and sat back, and then we saw what happened from there. But Garnacho changed the entire dynamic when he came on, and it was a great sub from Ten Hag, and a testament to Garnacho as well, how he's obviously had his issues with his discipline in the summer. That's been well reported. Bruno said it. You hear rumours, you hear things behind the scenes of him turning up late for things, problems that he's had there. He's addressed that. He's got the backing of the manager who said, yes, you've done the crime, you've done the time, and now he's bringing him into the team and he's rewarding him, and it's fantastic to watch.
100%. I'm going to get into some of the comments, then I'm going to get into some of the post-match interviews, including one with Bruno Fernandes, who's been very, very honest. And I think this is post-match. He's saying quite a lot of good stuff here about the World Cup. I'll get into. That's Mark asking. He's basically calling out the sort of some of the abuses that has gone on with building the stadiums and stuff, but I'll get into that in a minute. SG, who's been a member of the academy for 23 months, the kid's dynamite, next number 7. Potentially, yeah.
So, well, let's let
potentially.
Him, I would just say, for the sake of the whole idea, let him have a good season, full good season before we dish out.
I'm not saying let's do it. Potentially, of course he is.
Of course.
Matt Wicks, a member of the first team, 24 months. PGMO can absolutely get in the bin. Jason McMillan says Garnacho. George Andro Garnacho best. Yeah. Colin Wilmot, who's been a member of the academy for 40 months, says Garnacho's just retired Sancho. Aaron Wan-Bissaka didn't even make the bench, but 2 keepers did. What's the point in that, lads? I don't know what's going on with Wan-Bissaka.
Well, he was injured. I don't know if he still is, but he has had an injury.
I think there's something going on there.
So
Nick Bristow, who's been a member of the academy for 15 months, says Jazif is amalgamation of me and you. Any thoughts on us losing all composure when we concede? Seems to fall to pieces and make me shit myself. I shit myself, but it's nothing to do with the football. It's just problems I've got. But I'm on tablets. We do go a little bit, but I don't know, away from home as well. When the crowd are up for it and you can see the goal, you're going to be under the cosh for a little bit, and also we're missing 2 of our back 4 as well, which don't help.
Yeah, every team shits it when they concede.
Red Baron, love that, but still think our squad is thin. Ozzy Granola, who's been a member of the academy, Gamola, who's been a member of the academy for 5 months. Sancho needs to wake up if he wants to get into the team. Glenn F says, you never read my 21st month super chat, Joe. Sorry about that, Glenn F, but I've made up for it. Now, I want to get in some of these quotes. Now, you've seen the one there. Eric Ten Hag's talking about Garnacho saying it's a big skill he has. Don't overact on it, but that is what you need at the top and perform under stress. Yeah. Now, I think these are the quotes coming from... sorry, if I can just bring them up.
Bruno Fernandes after
Bruno Fernandes
is being interviewed, and he's, by the sound of it, had a bit to say about the World
Cup, because he's sort of laid into it here. So he said talk about Garnacho. He says, I think everyone is seeing the signs that Garnacho basically can go all the way, not because of his goals and assists, but the way he comes into the game. Nobody likes to be on the bench. The attitude he has when he comes off it has been fantastic. It's good that he's flagging it up there. Now, you can see there Bruno's comments on the World Cup. We know the surroundings of the World Cup, what has been in the past few weeks, past few months, about the people that have died on the construction of the stadiums. We are not happy about that at all. He's also gone on to say, as you can see, we want football to be for everyone. Everyone has to be involved in a World Cup because a World Cup is the world. It's for everyone, doesn't matter who. These kind of things, I think, should not happen at any time. It's good to hear him speaking out about it because, a lot of players wouldn't, a lot of people haven't, a lot of people just gone along with it. But he's obviously, he's a passionate guy. He's someone who wears his heart on his sleeve, and he's letting everyone know what he thinks about it, and that he's not happy with the situation and the fact that the World Cup's being played in a country where, from what we gather, and so many reports of it, depending on who which you believe, up to thousands and thousands of people could have been killed, I think, making these stadiums. I mean, it is pretty horrific, some of the stuff that's gone on. And fair play to Bruno for speaking out about that. I want to get into some of the other comments as well, because we don't just read super chats. There's been a lot of people sort of criticising Malacia, saying he had a bit of a stinker today. Yous on the watch along, what did you make of his performance? Because part of me feels a little bit sorry for the kid. He's a left back who's playing at right back, who's been in and out of the team, and has sort of only, obviously came into the Premier League, 3 months ago. What did you make of his performance?
I don't think he had a good performance, but what did we expect? Like you said, he's a young left back playing at right back at a difficult stadium with a not particularly well-equipped winger in front of him. He didn't, he's got a second. I know Lindelof's not a bad defender by any means, but he's not Varane. So you've already got the second choice option on your left, the second or third choice option in front of you. Yeah. Like, it's not an easy position to be in. In fairness, William skinned him a few times and made him look a bit silly at times, but.
Do you know one thing he did, though?
I'm willing to forgive a pretty poor performance because of the surrounding situation surrounding it.
At the very least, as well, I noticed a few times he was at the back post when he needed to be.
Yeah,
that was my biggest criticism of Wan-Bissaka. I know he wasn't playing, and Deleu's the main right back, but he always used to get caught, didn't he, on that far post. Malacia was switched on there. I feel a little bit sorry for Malacia. You can see his limitations. You saw it against Arsenal when I think Saka had him on toast a few times. We've seen it in a few games. He's been subbed at half time, hasn't he? Yeah. Was it the Derby he got subbed, and I think in Europe, Ammonia away, he got subbed at half time after he gave the ball away. So he's not. I don't think he's sort of. I think Luke Shaw's got a higher ceiling, but the thing with Malacia is you can't fault his effort and his energy and the fact he keeps going. And he's sorry, what you say, Macadam? He's playing out of position. This wasn't Matteo Darmian at Arsenal, was it? It wasn't that level of what the hell is he doing?
Destroyed.
Do you know what I mean? This is a left back playing at right back with all the points you've made. So I think we can give him a bit of a pass. James Kellen says Malacia as a left back looks decent, as a right back poor, but I guess Erik ten Hag wanted to try it and find out. We got through it, but I doubt they'll do it again. Steve Rasmussen says Luke Shaw is class.
Can we talk about Garnacho a little bit?
No, I don't want to talk about him. He's let himself down. He's let the team down. He's let Argentina down. He's let everyone down, man. He's just not good enough.
What do you think to him as a player? Obviously,
I don't
he scored a good goal today. Yeah. He's been excellent recently. Are you really excited? Do you think, obviously not putting too much pressure on him but we're excited football fans. What do you make of him as a player? I
don't want to get carried away, but I think he's the best player I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, honestly.
Yeah. And you saw Norberto Solano in his prime. I saw
Nobby Styles in his prime.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, listen, he's very exciting. The trouble we've had at United is we've overhyped youngsters before.
Yeah.
We've been on videos a few years ago rapping about Angel Gomez.
Go on, then. Underhype him then.
Underhype him.
Yeah.
But he was the star of that under-21s team. He was the one, obviously, in the FA Youth Cup final that shone. We know what he's capable of. There was questions about his attitude, but he's coming to this team, and I'll be honest with you, he's surprised me.
Yeah.
I thought he was good. I didn't think he was that good. No. Or certainly not that ready.
Because he's basically doing what he was doing at the under-21 or the under-18s in the first team.
Yeah.
A lot of players step up and you go, I can see why that worked there, but that doesn't work here. Do you know what I mean? Where they're not quick enough on the ball or the through balls, the defenders are too good for him. But he's basically he's just knocking the ball past players, getting to the other side of it. Like today, stonewall penalty to me. Knocks the ball past the defender. He sticks his legs between Garnacho's legs like you're putting a stick in someone's spokes on the bike.
Yeah.
And for some reason, the ref didn't give a penalty.
Disgraceful.
He didn't shield it. It wasn't his body across him. It was his legs between Garnacho's legs. Clearly tripped him over. Whether it's a penalty or not, it's dangerous and it unnerves defenders because they know that they can't keep getting away with that. Like you said, I'm surprised by how well he's handled the step up so far. And I think you've got to commend Ten Hag as well, because when you talk about how players are managed by the manager and how players' careers and trajectories are sort of sculpted by the people above them, certain things like too much, or not too much, but a lot of emphasis is placed on don't burn them out, don't play them too often. But also the way he handled that, you're late for a team meeting, you're late for training, right? Okay, that's 2 now. He basically didn't play him at all for the first two months of the season, did he? And then he's gone, okay, you've made up for it. You've proven yourself in training. We've put that behind us. And now he's playing him the right amount of minutes in the right games, allowing him to flourish. I think it's brilliant management so far from Ten Hag. And like you said, I'm surprised by just how good he's been. Like today with that, the energy and the determination, when you think of what a player like him could be, sometimes it's a bit, good on the ball, but they don't have that positional sort of game awareness where, he don't even run for that ball because he thinks it's overhit. Yeah. He's sprinting past 3 Fulham players to get to that. Yeah. He's got the desire, he's got the intensity as well. It's not just a, step over on the ball and that's all I've got. And the finish as well, just to roll the ball in the back of the net. The only way he's going to score there is if it's too low for the goalie. I don't think there's any other way. Maybe roof of the net like Giggs against Arsenal. But the finish was phenomenal as well. And to see that from him, the determination to get past all those Fulham players to put that ball in the back of the net was absolutely excellent.
The good thing about Garnacho now is I think you've got a manager there who knows how to handle youngsters properly. We've always had one extreme to the other. Louis van Gaal would throw him in, and then like your Paddy McNairs or your Tyler Blackett's, and then you'd be like, oh my God, he's giving him a chance. Exactly. And then, next thing you know, they dropped and they're never playing for the team again. And it's like, okay, well, that was the end of that. Yeah. Or you'd have managers like, I don't know, Ollie, who was a good manager for a spell at United especially, but I don't think he was particularly, his forte was bringing through youngsters. Or you've got Jose Mourinho, who I was at the press conference where he was unveiled, and he'd obviously been waiting for this question. Don McGuinness, who sat next to me, asked him about his youngsters. He said, United obviously like to play youngsters and the academy is very important. And he pulled out this piece of paper and he went, do you know how many youngsters I've played since I've been a manager? I've given their debuts and played. And obviously Don McGuinness didn't. And he went, 45. He went, 45 youngsters. And he said, I've got a piece of paper with all these youngsters on. And he gave it to the press. And half of me, I didn't give his debut. So he was just lying. Yeah. And it was just like, he's not that kind of manager he's not that kind of manager who's going to give all these youngsters a chance. And I think he had a bit of a bad attitude with some of them. Do you remember when we went on pre-season and you had Alexis Sanchez, a load of youngsters? Yeah. And he said, how do you think Sanchez feels? He's here with a load of players who aren't that good. Yeah. And you're like, what are you on about?
He used to weaponise the debuts of youngsters as well. He'd do it to piss off players that he thought was slighting him. Remember he played Scott McTominay basically to have a go at Fred. Yeah. Like he was like, look, 50 million quid they spent on you. Yeah. And I've got Scott McTominay, who's a striker from the academy, playing in midfield ahead of you. Like,
he did that with the defenders. Well, he played Scott McTominay in defence. Remember West Ham? Yeah. Where he took off Lindelof and left McTominay in defence.
He literally would pick players to wind up other players. Yeah. So it's nice having a manager that actually believes in youth and believes in bringing him through the right way. I think Ollie did that as well, and he knew what to do as well to a certain extent. But
the proof's there though with Ten Hag, and we've seen it with what he's done at Ajax. We've seen it now. I just think that one of the sort of disappointments for me has been this sort of, I don't know, it's just some of the youngsters we've had, I think, had they, been better coached, better managed, they would have had a better time of it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I look at some of the players that have won all these trophies and stuff at City, and I think you've just had a manager who's sort of been coaching you and, you've been used in the right way. And sometimes at United, we've had Marcus Rashford hobbling around the pitch, literally, against the Scousers, just to try and get us a point or whatever. And it's like, at times, look at, I know Martial didn't come through the academy, but look at the way he's been handled at times. It hasn't been great. Look at some of the other players, like the ones you're mentioning, some of them have fallen off a cliff. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And you think we could have handled them a little bit better, going all the way back to sort of post-Fergie the Januzaj sort of times when it was like David Moyes was just throwing him in when his form deserted him. Yeah. So yeah, I feel pretty confident in Erik ten Hag. I think he can nurture these players and hopefully get the best out of them.
Looking forward a little bit then, obviously this is the last review of a United game we'll do of an official game until the 19th or 20th of December. There's positive signs here, isn't there? This was a big chunk of the season that we all sort of put together as one kind of unit. Yeah. There are a lot of positive signs. And I think, as we were saying, I've been saying over the last week or two, but United haven't played a single 90 minutes with our first choice front three this season. I can't think of any other top 5-6 team challenging for the top 4 that you can say that about. No. Not one 90 minutes where presumably the first choice front three would be Rashford, Martial, Antony. That hasn't happened once. No. So to say that and to still be in the position we're in, I know we've struggled to score goals, and a lot of reason we've got those points is because of a good defence. But that is quite impressive. How have you judged this sort of first 15 games, 20 or so in all competitions?
I've been massively impressed. I think that Erik ten Hag is he's sort of, for me, almost surpassing expectations a little bit. I think because of everything he's had to deal with, and I think we had to be realistic. It's not just about us. You look at some of the other teams as well. Other teams have strengthened. Other teams have improved. Near the top end of the table. Newcastle have thrown a bit of a spanner in the works. Obviously, Conte's had a full pre-season, all that sort of stuff. Spurs. Yeah. You knew that Liverpool and City were always going to be thereabouts, and Arsenal getting their act together. So it's not been easy, but we're still in that hunt. You know what I mean? Because of Erik ten Hag, I think he's got so many things right. The things we mentioned, the players like getting the best out of Martial, showing him that love, getting the best out of Marcus Rashford. I know Martial's had a lot of injuries. Getting the best out of Marcus Rashford. You thought he was a player who was shot. Even Delot. People were going, Delot ain't good enough. I remember at Brighton, beginning of the season, first game, he was getting pelters. Yeah. Why is he still in this United team? Why are we going to get a right back? Hammering him. And, since then, he's been one of our best players. So I just think that Erik ten Hag, for this first bit of the season, yes, we had a stinker against Brentford especially, and the first half against City was horrendous. But You're going to have bumps. You're going to have bumps with a new manager, with this with a team that was struggling so badly under Ralph Rangnick. So, yeah, I've been massively impressed. Go on, give us your thoughts on it before we wrap up.
Yeah, I think it's been much better, and you can see a clear play style. You can see the players fighting for each other and fighting for the team again, which is something that we've not seen for 18 months at United, or certainly the previous 12 months at United. So, yeah, I'm really impressed by Ten Hag and the way he's turned this team around, and players like Casemiro and Martinez and Anthony and Eriksen, to bring all those in on, admittedly, a lot of money, but they've improved the team and we look better than we have done for quite a while now. So, yeah, really good.
Football is back, proper football, at the end of December, and we're doing a live event then as well.
Yes.
30th of December in Dublin. We're going over to Ireland. Me, Joe, Howson, McCullough, and Chocky, Brian McClare is joining us for a live event. There's a link I've just put in the chat, so if you can, check it out and come down there and get involved. It's going to be our first, I think this is our first, well, it is our first live event since we took over Stretford Paddock, so I'm looking forward to it. You know what Chocky's like. He's got so many great stories, and us lot will have a laugh, and we'll have a laugh with you guys as well. So make sure, if you can do, you come and get involved in that. Joe, where can people find you?
Joe Smith 93 on Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah, you know where to find me as well, Jay Merton on the Insta, and you know, just wherever. Make sure as well you subscribe into the channel. We're going to have more post-match reaction. You've got McCullough as well. You've got Andy Tate. You're going to have Howson. So make sure you are staying tuned to Stretford Paddock. I've got to get him, mate. I need to sit down and a glass of water. Yeah, I'll have a word with myself. Manchester United winning at Craven Cottage thanks to a late winner from Alejandro Garnacho. Thanks for watching.